There's an interview with Jimmy Kimmel. Joe Biden, the president of the United States, went on to talk about the situation in the country and the bipartisan talks that they could have requiring anything when it comes to policy proposals. I think you could see where this could be going. Or maybe Joe Biden is the strong Democrat that's stepping up that Cenk was just talking about. Let's find out, because when he went on, this is what he talked about when it came to McConnell. But I've always had a straight relationship with the Republican leader, Mitch McConnell. He's a guy that when he says something, he means it. Kimmel says, like when he said he can't confirm a Supreme Court justice with a year left and then said the opposite, pretty obvious.
No, Jay, I'm gonna interrupt there to say, like, guys, isn't that amazing? I mean, before we give you the rest of it, Jimmy Kimmel was arguing for the Democratic position. The Democratic president is arguing for the Republican position. I mean, they're about to get slaughtered in the elections. You're on national TV on a popular show. This is the time to make your case. And he's like, no, Jimmy, let me tell you how awesome the Republicans are. Oh, Mitch McConnell is a straight shooter. Straight shooter, what are you talking about? Merrick Garland sat there for over a year and Mitch McConnell wouldn't confirm him. And then they confirmed Amy Coney Barrett with 2 weeks or 1 week left before the election. No, Joe Biden is in love with Mitch McConnell. And he's in love with Republicans. And he just can't seem to quit them. So given any opportunity, he would rather make a super positive comment about his beloved Republicans than to actually fight them. The Democrats are going to get slaughtered.
Well, he's looking to have that unity ticket when he comes back in, especially for the midterms. They need the unity because, since he's been talking unity, the Republicans have said, you know what, it's great. The president, he's following through on his promises of bringing the country together. We're so happy with him. Let's continue on because Jimmy Kimmel was not through with him. Kimmel later grew emotional when he asked Biden, shouldn't we demand that every senator in the United States sit with those families of the Uvalde, Texas shooting victims? Biden agreed before insisting that gun reform be made a voting issue as opposed to something decided by a divisive Congress. Kimmel then interrupted Biden asking, can't you issue an executive order? Trump passed those out like Halloween candy. Biden, though, said he didn't want to, quote, emulate Trump's abuse of the Constitution and constitutional authority. So here's how he said it. I often get asked, well, the Republicans don't play it square. Why do you play it square? Well, guess what? If we do the same thing they do, this is the best part, our democracy will literally be in jeopardy. It could be in jeopardy if they don't play it straight the way that Donald Trump and the Republicans never play it straight, or what they say in political circles is win elections.
Yeah, so look, let's break down how ridiculous everything Biden said is. So those guys cheat all the time, and by the way, constitutional executive orders are a vague middle ground. Every executive order is not at all cheating or unconstitutional. So a lot are when they overstep the bounds and go, I'm gonna kind of say it, like the thing that I can't stand that both Republican and Democratic presidents have done is when they sign a bill and they attach a statement to it saying, yeah, but I'm not really gonna do this bill, instead I'm gonna do this. No, that's totally unconstitutional. Obama did it, Bush loved it, invented it, manufactured it, right? Trump did it, etc. So that's a category that exists. But there are perfectly normal executive orders that you have to do and have leeway in doing. And Biden's like, no, I'm not gonna do that either. I'm just gonna let the Republicans do all of it, the wrong ones, the right ones, the ones in the middle. They can do anything they want, they can have all the power that they want. But when we get into office, I'm not gonna do a goddamn thing. I'm not gonna use any of my power, including the legitimate side. What the hell did we elect you for? You know what happened, guys. The one true thing that Joe Biden has ever said was to the donors, nothing would fundamentally change. And so that's what he's saying here. I'm not gonna do it. I promised my donors, the only people I actually care about, that I wouldn't do anything. So here I am delivering on not doing anything. So we hear you loud and clear. And then he's again with the stupid, honestly, Joe Biden's gotta be one of the dumbest people in America. The fever's gonna break. No, the president of the United States does not know a single thing about current day politics in America. That's amazing. It's amazing that the donors can just give you billions of dollars and make you president. And they talk about puppets. There's a lot of anti-Semitic BS conspiracy theories about, the Jews are, no, you idiots, it isn't anything about any particular ethnicity, race, or religion. No, we have literally legalized bribery. It doesn't matter what the religion or race is. They just pay the guy, and it's almost all machines, not people, corporations that are funneling the money in. And they go, hey, Joe, You got no thoughts in your head? Perfect. You say nothing's gonna change? Perfect. Let's take this puppet, put him in an office, and then he'll sit there like a jackass and do nothing because he doesn't understand politics. I tell you all that because he said, no. Mitch McConnell's a really, really good guy, as JR told you at the beginning of that, and then he went on to say, like, but because of the Trump thing, he's got a lot of pressure. Poor guy. Don't be so tough on Mitch. I love Mitch. Trump, what are you talking about? Mitch McConnell's been a monster my whole life. Our whole lives he's been a monster. And he did the Merrick Garland thing before Trump ever arrived. That was under Obama. He's the one that broke the record on filibusters and blocked Obama's entire agenda and all of his federal judges, not just the Supreme Court judges. But still, nothing could get Biden to fall out of love with Mitch McConnell. This is not a leader, and it's certainly not a leader of the Democrats or the left. We're gonna get annihilated in 2022, and Joe Biden's gonna celebrate. He's gonna be like, yes! My beloved Mitch McConnell has won. He's gonna throw a party. I don't know if they're gonna have like snacks and fireworks at the White House. Yes, the Republicans have won. They're stronger now. I wanted them to be stronger, and they are. And the kicker is, then Biden has the perfect excuse to not do anything for the rest of his term. Oh, what could I do? The Republicans took the House. The Republicans took the Senate. He's like, there was nothing I could do. And all the media will be like, bravo, bravo, Joe Biden.
Okay, so we're in this. There's the thing. I've said this before too, because also last week we just talked about there's this division within the White House amongst aides and staff. The younger folks versus the older ones. And the older ones are okay and on board with this. The younger ones are like, we're tired of the president not really stepping up, doing the actionable things, saying things that would actually progress the agenda. And many of the older ones are like, well, this is great, it's fine, but they're battling back and forth. Because there are still, Jank, those Democratic voters who are like, this is great. We can't go too radical. We can't be yelling, which again, I'm gonna get to what Jimmy Kimmel then said to him about yelling. We can't yell, we can't get upset because then we'll alienate half of the country, which they say things like that when it's not half of the country. It's just the other political party that makes it seem that way. So they're still thinking about those voters and thinking they'll somehow turn on the Democratic Party, but where will they go?
No, the older people in the White House, if they have that position, are unilaterally unintelligent. I know we're told by mainstream media that the people at the top are demigods. Oh my, the way they got there. The way they got there was bribery. That's how they got there. They don't have a thought in their goddamn heads. So they're saying, oh, you know what? If we don't want to alienate the half the country. First of all, as JR's right, it's about 33 to 40% of the country that's really hardcore Republicans, but they show up to vote in greater numbers. Okay, but let's say it's 40% of the country, okay? But they're already gone. Every election and every poll indicates that they're totally on Trump's side. When are you gonna get it through your stupid head? Because you don't understand facts. No, but I think in the 1970s, we used to be able to get crossover votes. So I think it's still probably the same way, right? Are we still in the 1970s? Is that where we are? But the Republicans back then, I know I used to be a Republican in the 80s and 90s. Those Republicans on a lot of issues, economic issues, were way more left than the Democrats are today. So what are you talking about? It's not the same Republic. How can you be that dumb that you don't know it's not the same Republicans? And so, no, you're not gonna win them over, but this is the most important part, guys. When you unilaterally disarm and say, because I don't want to offend Republican voters, I'm never going to make a case against the Republican Party. The other side has not agreed to that. They're tearing the Democrats' face off every day. Oh my God, the baby formula and the border and the pedophile, transit. Like they're just ripping the Democrats apart. And the Democratic leader's like, I think we should be nice to the other side and never make our case. Well, if you don't make your case, politics is all about marketing. It sucks, but it's true. It's when the voter goes in, he's gonna vote for one brand or the other, the Democrat or the Republican. And the head of the brand, that is the Democratic Party, says, I will help the Republican brand so you can go vote for them. If that's not stupid, I don't know what is.
I want to let you guys see, because we're gonna do a graphic segment as this interview continues with Jimmy Kimmel. When they go on shows like this was a big deal. Even as for the president. presidents going on late night talk shows are still somehow a big deal. It's not 1994, but it's still happening. So they prepped and made sure these things were said in a certain way. This wasn't off the cuff. This wasn't winging it. This isn't just Joe Biden making it happen. This was the message they wanted to deliver. So further on, graphic 7. When Biden said that he's never been so optimistic about the future, Kimmel replied, "Why are you so optimistic? It makes no sense." Biden deferred to the nation's younger people, calling them the best educated, least prejudiced, most giving generation in American history. This generation is going to change everything, is what he added. We just got to make sure that we don't give up.
Okay, I got to step in again. That's the generation that you attack all the time. The reason why we have hope, any of us in the country, but especially progressives, is because you're right, the younger generation is way more left-wing, way more progressive than the older generations. But those are the guys that you yell at within the party, that you work against in the party. You just did it. Democratic leadership just backed Cuellar, who is a corrupt, old, conservative Democrat that's pro-guns and against abortion rights. And against Jessica Cisneros, who's a young progressive in her 20s. And it's a race that was decided by a couple hundred votes. And Democratic leadership, go with the older generation, the one that's more corrupt. You know, the energy that we have that's positive and gonna save the party, let's take a crap all over it. Let's fight it, let's punch it in the face. And then remember when Biden does his appearances, he's like, oh, the millennials think they have it tough. Give me a break, give me a break. You don't have it tough at all. It's no big deal, okay? You spit in our face all the time, and now you tell us you're hopeful because of young progressives in the party? You certainly don't act like it. Can anyone in America do journalism? Tell us what Biden's actual record is. The mainstream media will never tell you. They lie on behalf of Joe Biden 24/7. You won't find a single article in all mainstream media today saying, wait a minute, why is Biden saying that the young are what we should listen to in the Democratic Party when his record indicates that they are the least people he ever listens to, including what JR said earlier. Even within the White House, there's a younger camp and an older camp. And the younger camp says, please do more. Please just do one of the promises you made. Just one of the promises. A $15 minimum wage or child tax rate or pay family or whatever, just voting rights, anything that's got like, I don't know, maybe 90% or higher approval. Can we do that? Can we do that? And older generation like, no, don't do it. Mitch McConnell will be upset. Our beloved Mitch McConnell. Well, remember, we got to act like our beloved Republicans. And Joe Biden, who did you go with, Joe? Who did you listen to? You listened to the older ones, didn't you? And there you are. We saw it on national TV saying, oh, Mitch McConnell's awesome. No, you can't have it both ways.
This is the way that it is going though, since he's talking about the unity and the happiness. And also, I'm glad you talked about him getting his face ripped off, Cenk, because this guy named Jesse Waters, and I believe also Tom Cotton was speaking on the same type of approach and the same wording being used. Again, as we saw, there was that the gunman that decided to show up at Justice Kavanaugh's house to do some damage, and they've been taking that and running with it. Watch.
He says he was furious over Roe v. Wade possibly being overturned. Remember the leak? And was looking for purpose in his life. So he found that purpose by going out and trying to kill a Supreme Court justice. You think that idea just popped into his head? Or did the orders come all the way from the top?
Interesting. Biden said, no, don't worry, the fever's gonna break and the Republicans are gonna be reasonable. And that's why I support my dear friend, Mitch McConnell. And the right wing said, oh, thank you very much, Biden. And they come out right afterwards, and Jesse Waters does a segment saying, I think maybe the orders to assassinate Kavanaugh came from Biden, from up top. Did it look like they returned the favor, Joe? Did it? Does it look like we're in an even playing field? No, they're saying that you were trying to help murder a Supreme Court justice when you did no such thing. I mean, that would require you getting up out of bed. So of course you didn't do it. You didn't do anything, right? So, and they accuse you of like these outrageous, insane arguments. And it totally, hey, dumbass, it totally works. You think, oh, nobody's gonna believe that. No, their entire audience believes it. Tens of millions of people believe it. Now the white replacement theory, it was 58%, and then I saw another poll, it was like in the 70s or something for Republicans. They all believe it, you dumbass. But you're like, oh no, they're my friends. I bet they're my friends. He says with like half of his face peeled off.
You know who else was doing this, by the way? It's Tom Cotton. Since it could just be pundits like Jesse Waters. It's Tom Cotton who called that shooter, potential shooter, a Democratic hitman. So that's the term that's gonna start flowing listen for that over and over and over again because it's going to stay embedded in people's brains.
That's what they say about the left, and the leader of the left says, no, I love them and I want them to be stronger and I believe in Mitch McConnell. No, good night, Irene. There's no way he's turning around. He's too stupid to turn around. He's too old, too stupid. So we're gonna hit that iceberg at 100 miles an hour. Thanks for watching the Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.